One other part of the game, Mitch, very important that the amateur golfer struggles on, and sometimes I do too, is the mental side of the game. A couple tips in mental toughness on the golf course, I believe, is forgetting the last shot, moving ahead. You know, one time my college coach told me, he says, Gary, a 6 is better than a 7. You know, 7's better than an 8. You get so frustrated, you're making a bad hole, and you just let it affect the rest of your game. So let that hole go, look to the next hole, try to improve from there on out. It's tough to be concentrating for 4 or 5 hours on the golf course, but the better you can forget the past, look to the future, I think you'll play a better game.
Right, Gary, I believe it too. I mean, it's really tough when you're out there playing to not think about score, to not think about what the number is on this hole, to be laying 4 or 5 on a hole and all you're worried about is you're going to make a 6 or 7, as opposed to just doing the best you can on the next shot. That's all you can do when you're playing. I can remember one of the sayings that I was told early on in golf: make sure your next shot is easier than your last shot.
All right.
It's very unique when you say it that way. Never put yourself in a worse position, always in a better position.
And the other thing on the golf course that people always look for, they look for the bad things. They look for the lakes. They look at the out of bounds. They look at the woods. Somehow or another, I'm not sure how you do this. Maybe we got to go see Dr. Bob Rotella. He's the best at it. But think of the fairways. Think of the greens. Don't look at the out of bounds. Don't look at the lakes. I mean, how many times people go over a lake and they pull out a water ball or something. I've seen that too. They know they're going to go in the water. You know, pretend that lake's not even there. Pretend the woods isn't there. You know, just look at the fairways, look at the greens, and make good golf swings, and avoid the bad thoughts.
Correct. You've got to find a way to block those out. So you've got to concentrate on something else.
Right.
Whatever that might be. If you get up on a tee that you feel uncomfortable about, the main thing you've got to do is find something to focus on besides the negative. Pick out a tree in the distance and just think about nothing but that tree in the back of your mind, whatever it is. But you can't be thinking about the perimeter of the golf course. You've got to be thinking down the middle, which means you've got to focus on something down through the middle on the other side, whatever that is. And it's very easy to get distracted on the golf course, whether you're distracted by your last shot, whether you're distracted by this jerk that you got paired with today. You know, it could be anything. It could be the guy pressed you on the tee, and now you're distracted because you're annoyed that the guy pressed you on the tee. It could be anything that throws you off on your game, and you've really got to stay focused and away from that if you're going to play great golf.
How many times you play with your buddies or some of the members here at Walden and say, "Oh, I know how to get to that guy. Watch this. I'll say this or I'll say that."
There's an art to that.
And you know, some guys are smart with that, but somehow you got to be able to block it out, put it aside, and move on. Look at your next shot, and it's easier said than done.
Absolutely, it sure is. It's you know, I've got some guys that I can think of real close by that do a lot of that, and you know, they're good at it, and that's what they are. That's part of their game.
Right.
Plays right into their hands. You've got to learn some way to not let that affect your game. You've got to focus and stay ahead of that, and make sure that you're thinking on shot for shot as you go around the golf course. How many times do you see an average amateur golfer go out and play really good on the first 9 and blow up on the second 9? And we always say, why do they do that? They do that because they get thinking about their total score for the day. I'm playing really good today. I'm going to have a good score. Now they've got that pressure to play good on the back 9. It's that pressure they put on themselves to play good on the back 9 for that score that really destroys their back 9. The guys that I always say, the guys that play the best are the guys that care the least about their total score. They're going to be steady eddies because they don't have that external pressure that they put on themselves.
No expectations.
No
expectations. Add them up
expectations.
at the end, and what it is.
They're steady eddies in most cases.
Good point.